Hi guys. So back in the beginning of 2017, when I really started investing in Bitcoin, and in the later few months when I started investing in Ethereum, almost nobody was interested with me. We were starting to have conversations, me and my computer geek friends, and some of us bought a little bit of Bitcoin here and there, but it was kind of hard to talk anyone into investing anything into Bitcoin, and Ethereum was like a non-conversation. No one even knew what you were talking about if you mentioned Ethereum. So it's kind of weird that when Bitcoin was in the $800 to $2,000 range in the first month or two of 2017, or in December last year, nobody was really interested in Bitcoin. Anyone you talk to might have invested $5 if you begged them, but nobody was really interested. And Ethereum, as it was going up from about $7 to about $200, even then, the mainstream was not really interested. It was only the computer geek type of people, or the people that were already interested in cryptocurrency. If you told anyone about it, they would ask you, what's that? That would be one of their first questions. And they would always say something like, I don't understand what it is, and they'd give you many, many different type of reasons why they wouldn't want to learn about it or invest in it or whatever. And some of those reasons are valid. You shouldn't invest in stuff that you don't understand. And that's generally a good rule of thumb. But I also want to point out that there is nothing wrong with learning to understand new things. That way that you can understand new things. So I decided to make this video today because many, many people have come up to me in the last week or two asking, how do I invest in Bitcoin? How do I invest in Litecoin? Mostly those two. Ethereum has kind of taken a back seat, even though most of my crypto money was invested in Ethereum. So what I have done over the last week or two is I decided to sell most of my Bitcoin around the $16,000 range and most of my Litecoin around the $320 range. And also I sold a good portion of my Ethereum around $750. And I did this for multiple reasons. One is because I had a higher percentage of my net worth invested in cryptocurrency than I had originally planned on. I had originally only invested a few $1,000s, and the amount that I had invested was getting kind of serious, so much so that if I had lost the money, I would have been in a very, very bad mood that week. So the second reason why I sold it, and probably the main reason why I sold most of my positions in cryptocurrency, was because everyone was talking about it. When you have your best friend asking you, oh, hey, I want to start buying Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, I just want to buy all three. And everyone's telling you like, oh, wow, I heard Litecoin's like $360, how do I buy some? And literally everyone that I used to talk about stocks with was always talking about cryptocurrency. And even people that were just familiar with me making videos were talking about cryptocurrency. And so I think this is generally a good sign that for the short term, things might be a little bit too expensive. I think 16,000 might be a short-term high for Bitcoin, or I guess it touched upon like $19,000 and change. But you know what I mean, in that high teen range for Bitcoin. And Litecoin, 360, 370-ish, that might be a short-term high for Litecoin. Now, I am still bullish long-term, and when I say long-term, I mean 5 to 10 years. I think Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin, all three of them will probably do very well. But as far as the short-term, I have absolutely no idea if Bitcoin is going up or down. I don't know if Litecoin is going up or down. And I firmly believe that most people in the world that act like they know what they're talking about have absolutely no idea if Bitcoin is going up or down. And the reason that I believe most people have no idea what they're talking about is because a few weeks ago, Bitcoin was $5,900. A few days ago, Bitcoin was $19,000 and change. One day ago, Bitcoin Cash was $4,000. The day before that, Bitcoin Cash was stuck on Coinbase at $9,000. Bitcoin Cash is different than Bitcoin, for those of you that don't know. It's an exact clone, or almost an exact clone, with a few minor differences. And these price changes cannot be sustained. The volatility cannot be sustained. At some point, things have to level out. Now, in 2013, The time when everyone was talking about Bitcoin was when Bitcoin first hit $1,000, and all the conversations at the poker table were always about Bitcoin, and it was a fun conversation to have. But over the next year or two, Bitcoin ended up going down, kind of a downward slide all the way down to about $200 per coin. And the conversations really started to taper off. Nobody had too much interest. And I'm afraid that's what's going to happen right now. While the actual use of Bitcoin hasn't changed, the price of Bitcoin has changed. While the code base behind Bitcoin hasn't really changed in the last week, the price of Bitcoin has changed. And that's what people are talking about. They're not talking about the utility of Bitcoin and how much Bitcoin can be used to buy things like they were a year ago. And they're not talking about the transactions and the transaction speed and stuff. Everyone's always talking about the price and thinking of Bitcoin as an investment. So Bitcoin can be used as an investment, but that's secondary to Bitcoin being used as a store of value, similar to gold, or for large transactions. Like if you wanted to transfer $1 million to someone that had a computer and internet service in Papua New Guinea, you could never go there by plane, or it'd be such a pain to go there by plane and deliver them gold, or however you wanted to deliver them value. You could bring them a bag of cash or whatever, or who knows how you would transfer the money. But someone in Papua New Guinea or Venezuela, it's very, very easy to transfer that person $1 million worth of Bitcoin, which they can then transfer to whatever currency they choose. That's the utility of Bitcoin. And as such, Bitcoin is very, very useful. Litecoin is extremely useful. Last time I paid an 8-cent fee on Litecoin. So Litecoin is very useful, and I'm sure it will survive, although I do not know at what price. Litecoin jumped up to about $370 recently, and now it's down to about $240. So no one can really predict the future price of Litecoin. Who knows if it's overvalued or undervalued? I'm personally holding a few Litecoin, and I recently bought a Litecoin miner, the Antminer L3. I paid a few $1,000s for this, and I do believe that I'm happier buying the miner because I will get consistent deposits of Litecoin into my Litecoin wallet. Instead of investing in Litecoin directly, I can now mine it for free for the next 2 or 3 years into the future. So that's a relatively small investment for me, though. I do plan on buying more Litecoin miners and more Bitcoin miners, especially if the prices of Litecoin and Bitcoin go down. So that's something that I'm very, very interested in. But I do want to point out to everyone that it's better to invest in things before everyone's talking about it. And I'm sure everyone has heard the saying FOMO, F-O-M-O, which stands for fear of missing out, fear of missing out. And so how this applies is that every single person that I talk to is interested or was interested in investing in Bitcoin when it was $17,000. Literally everyone wanted to open up a Coinbase account and invest money into Bitcoin. And when I was talking about Bitcoin when it was $800, only one person that I know wanted to invest in Bitcoin. My girlfriend at the time thought I was crazy for buying a little bit. I told her I was going to take a couple $100s of her money and buy her a couple of Ethereum and $200 or $300 worth of Bitcoin. And I wish I did, and she actually wishes that I did now. I didn't do it because I never got around to it. But FOMO is real. So when the prices of something are going up and up and up and up and up, and then eventually they take a parabolic move, which means they go straight up like this. You look at the chart and it just goes up, 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 up. And it just looks ridiculous. And you look around and everyone's happy and everyone's talking about Bitcoin. No matter how useful Bitcoin is, and no matter how great the technology is, which I do think it is useful, and I do think the technology is great, but short term, that might be priced too high. It might be too dangerous to invest in at the moment. Something like a cryptocurrency, you can invest your money, and it can, and probably will, go down by 80% at some point in your investment. Just like 2013, when Bitcoin went from $1,000 to $200, Bitcoin right now can go from the $20,000 range back down to the $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 range, no problem. So the Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and 8 or 9 other currencies I currently hold, I am holding on to them, although it is not enough that I care about the price movements. I currently have about 1 to 1.5% of my net worth invested in cryptocurrency, and I am very happy having it invested, and I'm in it for the long term. I don't see myself buying or selling any cryptocurrency at all this week. The volatility is just way too high. But in the future, I will probably be making more purchases of Bitcoin if it drops to the $5,900 level, which was a recent low of about a month ago. And I will probably be buying more Ethereum if it drops to the $250 level, which is the last time that I bought Ethereum. Litecoin, as far as Litecoin, if it is trending up at some point and Litecoin is in the $70 to $150 level. I know that's a big range, but I just can't predict the future for myself. But somewhere in that range, between $70 and $150, I'm sure I will start to make purchases of Litecoin again. But as for right now, I am on the sidelines, and I am currently long-term bullish on cryptocurrencies. But being long-term bullish is very, very different between being short-term bullish. Because in the short term, no one has any idea what is going to happen. As always, I have most of my money invested in stocks and options to buy stocks in the future. I have a lot of money invested in Cirrus Logic, which is one of the suppliers to Apple for the new iPhone X. And I am very comfortable holding those options. I also own a lot of stock in Cirrus Logic. The symbol is CRUS if you would like to buy shares or options yourself. I'm not recommending this. I'm just telling you what I'm personally doing with my money. I also have money invested in mutual funds, index funds, and my daughter has 14 different stocks. I have a bunch of different stocks, which if you see my previous videos, you probably know what stocks I'm investing in. And that is my favorite thing to invest in. Now, one of the big reasons why I think the market will continue, the stock market, will continue to be an upward trend and be bullish is because of the new tax plan. So Republicans basically pushed this plan through the House, and then they pushed the plan through the Senate, and then President Trump signed the bill for lower tax rates. So I don't know all the details about the tax plan, but one of the major selling points is that the tax plan charges corporations 21% on earnings. Now, on average, I believe corporate earnings were taxed at about 35%. So this is a big difference. Now, just to give you a hypothetical example, a company that was making $1 million a year might have paid $350,000 in corporate taxes. So earnings are growing, revenues are growing. Now the next year they are making $1.1 million, let's say, but now the tax rate is only 21%. So now this company will only pay about $210,000. So that leaves $900,000 in earnings instead of $650,000 of earnings, which this great investor is benefiting from. She's already up $2,500 profit in her account. Best investor in the world. Thank you for listening. Thank you for subscribing. I'll make another video in a day or two. Bye, guys. Bye.
It's fly.
Say bye.
Bye. It's fly.